Hey, beautiful people, and welcome back to my YouTube channel, A Moment with Monica. This is a channel where you could be equipped, encouraged, and empowered through the Word of God. If you are new here, welcome. I pray that this video blesses you. I pray that this channel blesses you. As you can see by the title, God told me to quit my job with no backup plan. And 5 months later, we are now back employed and with a full-time job in a different career field, a different career totally, and it is all because of the glory of God. And so I'm just here to encourage someone who is struggling and who has heard the voice of God tell them to move to a different city or move back with their parents or to do something that they had not planned on doing, and they had already had plans and steps and everything ordered, and God came and wrecked their plans as soon as they surrendered. And now they're here and they're wondering what is going on. I'm here to encourage you, to let you know that the Lord loves you and the Lord has a plan for you. And even when it doesn't seem like it's all going according to plan, and things are being crushed left and right, and you're struggling, God has not left you. He has not forsaken you. And even when people don't understand it, and when people think that you're crazy, I promise you that is going to make sense to you and those people as God unravels his plan in time. So stay tuned. So today I'm gonna share my testimony. And it's so funny because I was listening to the song before I came on here. I was listening to the song He Restores Everything, and I'm gonna leave a link below. It's such a good song. Oh, it's so beautiful. And I started listening to the song, I think it was around July, after I had left my job, and I felt like the Lord was giving me back my creativity, giving me back that childlike faith again, giving me back that joy, restoring these things unto me that I had lost in the busyness and the hustle culture, and losing, and that I had lost while working a job that was honestly draining me, and taking away, my passion, my creativity, my joy that I had, because it was so demanding and there was a lack of support that I could no longer continue working there. And uh, so I'm gonna try to go back to last year. So here I am last year in my apartment, working as a full-time high school teacher, teaching ACE language, Cambridge, and I teaching ACE language Cambridge, and I feel the call that I'm not going to stay here, which I don't know, it was around the summertime last year when I realized I wouldn't stay, but I didn't know how quick I was going to be transitioning. So the Lord began to speak to me around the summertime, and I realized I wasn't going to stay at my apartment, and I was not going to stay at my current job at the time. And so come October, I'm fixing my resume. I'm fixing my LinkedIn. I'm updating all the details that I need to. I'm putting all of my experiences. A little background information. Been a teacher for 4.5 years, but I have education experience. In high school, I was a preschool assistant, and then even a little bit of time after high school. And then after working as a preschool assistant for about 3 years, not really working, but like volunteering as a preschool assistant for about 3 years, getting some experience for a couple months at another place with like middle, high, elementary, then also going into elementary school, working as a teacher's assistant for first grade, but then also being placed in kindergarten, second grade, third grade, fourth grade, fifth grade, so having experiences there. Then I went to high school. So here we are. Then I had actually experience in higher education where I taught college writing 1 and 2, then went to high school. So here I'm in the high school that the Lord has sent me. And after, while I was completing my master's, done graduate, and now here I am 2023, and the Lord is like, you're not going to stay here. Prior to this, earlier that year, I think it was in 2023, I was crying out to God, and I was like, you know what, God, I surrender everything. I've been making plans. I've been running around in circles with these plans. Nothing is coming, or nothing is being presented the way that I expected or wanted. And I'm kind of feeling empty. This is not really what I want to do anymore. I want your plans for me and not my plans. And so little by little, the Lord was also weaning off like my ideas, my plans, the idolatry that I had for my own life, the control. But I got to the point in 2023 when I was just very serious. I was like, you know what, God, place me where I'm supposed to be, where I was supposed to be. Had I not been like disobedient, had I not tried to take control over my life and be the one in the the driver's seat. So I said, put me in my rightful place. And that was a dangerous prayer. The moment that I said that, I said that, I have it in my journal. I said it around April, May. It was like after Resurrection Sunday or something. I said, put me in my rightful place, God. Whew, I surrender. Come summertime when the Lord is telling me, all right, I need you to prepare. You're not going to stay at your job. You're not going to stay at your apartment. But it became louder and clearer around October. I started to feel a grief in my spirit that I was about to leave where I was and I was about to once again be in transition. And it was sad because I had not been at the job for long. And I felt like if I even go back and share everything, about my like whole journey in education, which I'll probably do another video another time. But you can see in my journey, and if you watch me on social media, that the Lord has not allowed me to stay in one place for too long. I'm always in transition, and that even comes with getting my degrees. I'm always graduating a semester early, a year early, or something like that. I've never stayed at a place too long. And so I was kind of sad because I'm like, this is bittersweet. But I knew in me that I had never desired to stay in K through 12 education all my life. I knew that I wanted to be in higher education. From the time that I was a senior, I had come to that idea that I wanted to be in higher education. And I knew that I still wanted the experience as a teacher because when I was younger, I did tell my father a lot. I was like, I want to be a teacher. But I had fallen in love with English and writing, professional writing, technical writing, creative writing so much, and writing and rhetoric, that I knew that this field for me to explore and grow in would be in higher education. So it wasn't a long-term goal to be a teacher anyway. And it was like God was pulling me out of that comfortability and that comfort zone, because sometimes we can make an idol out of our career, and sometimes we can allow it to hold us back from the more that God has in store for us, the greater. And so here I am in October-ish, November, and I feel the Lord telling me to leave, and I'm preparing and I'm updating the resume, updating the LinkedIn and everything of that nature. I'm applying for jobs in higher ed. The door's not opening. I'm getting a little bit of feedback, opportunity to speak with the person in charge, the supervisor, the director, the department chair for that school, that university. Okay, so cut me off. But I'm getting basically feedback. I'm talking to the department chairs for some of these universities and schools, but it's almost like the door is just not quite, like it's not quite opening, or they're like, oh, we'll take a look, or we'll do this, and or it's rejection after rejection. So I'm like, God, I know that I'm not supposed to stay here, and I need to plan accordingly and do accordingly. By this time, I'm preparing my home. Like, I'm at the point where the home is ready to be packed because I heard the word of the Lord. And so I applied for this job in like, I think it was like November, the end of November. And or it was like early December, I think. And it's another high school, but this time it's a charter school. And I was working at a public school, and it's completely different. And I didn't really want to work at a charter school because I had experience from it before. And I really like the way that public schools have to follow the rules of the state. Like, they have to follow some regulations that charter schools kind of can often get away with, if they're not governed by the state and things like that. And so I didn't know, but I was like hoping that this would be a different experience. The school that I was at prior, or the school that I was leaving, wasn't necessarily a bad school. Of course, every school comes with its challenges, but in some ways, I desired more organization. I desired more professionalism. But this school was like, a hope that things would be okay, good for now. It wasn't exactly the dream that I had when leaving, but I was like, you know what, this could be something that I could be a part of for now. But I still have hopes that the Lord is going to open a door for me in higher education. Start the new job in January, leave my apartment, move out as the Lord told me to, move back in with my mom. I'm in a new city again. I'm working in a new city. I'm back with my mom, my apartment, and I we break up. And everyone's like, what are you doing? This sounds crazy. Like, why would you go to this new city and work? Why are you trying to? I'm like, I heard the word of the Lord. And not only did I hear the word of the Lord tell me to leave, I also heard the word of the Lord when I was 19 and got a vision of what he would do with my life and where he would place me. And so it was coming together, the vision that I had at 19. And here I am at the time I was 26, and I'm like, it's coming together. It's starting to make a little bit of sense. And so I'm at this new school. It's different than what was shared in the interview process. It's different than what I expected. And I I find myself saying, God, I don't think I could continue any longer. And it gets to May. And I'm like, Lord, I don't think I could continue to do this. Like, I am burnt out. I am overwhelmed. It had taken a toll on my body as well, mentally, emotionally, physically. The job was very demanding, and it was a different atmosphere and environment than I had ever experienced. And there was a lack of support, as well, even though it was like, yes, we got you, we'll support you, the actions were different. And so I was consumed, and I was like, this is not how it's supposed to be, Lord. And you told me to move, and here I am at a new job, and a new job in a different city than I've ever worked before, back with my mom. I look crazy. People are like, but you left that job, and you that job was that you left was completely different. Like, why would you leave for that? And I was looking crazy. I mean, I was sounding crazy. I was looking crazy, and I couldn't explain it except that I had heard the Lord. And so I had no explanation, and the Lord wasn't making things easier because he wasn't sharing everything with me either. And so, if you're in that position and you sound crazy and you look crazy, and people are wondering, what is she doing? But why is she going to that state? Why is she going to that job? Why would she leave that career? All you can sometimes say is the Lord told me to, and keep it moving, because not everyone's going to understand. And then so June comes, well, the middle of May, and I hear the Lord tell me, just quit with no backup plan. I had never done that before, but I was so distraught on that job that I was like, there is no other way, because I cannot do another year. And so I was like, all right, we got a little bit of our savings. We're just going to quit with no backup plan. We quit. I quit with no backup plan. And I'm thinking it's going to be easy. I'm thinking the Lord is going to make a way for me in a month, 2 months. And I was applying to different places, and there was one place that I thought I would be, and they had got back to me quickly, and it was like, okay, when can you start? And this is the salary. So there was no interview. It was just like, all right, you're in. Right. And I was asking for a little bit more of the salary, and they were like, they kind of ghosted me. And so that was just like weeks, I think, after I had quit the job. Then I'm still applying. I'm still like looking, but there's nothing. By the time it gets to 3 months, I'm like, Lord, the savings is running out. Um, I need to find something. What is happening? And my mom is like, because I had not told her that I had quit my job. I just quit. I remember calling her and be like, Mom, can I quit? And she was like, do you have a back? Like, do you have another job lined up? Do you have something else? And she was like, just wait till you have something else lined up. But I knew that I just couldn't take it anymore. And I knew, if anything, I'm going to follow the Lord's voice. Like, I'm that type of person that no matter what people say or think, I'm going to follow the Lord's voice. And so I ended up quitting. And it gets to 3 months, I'm unemployed. Things are piling up, and I'm trying to figure out, when is the Lord going to make a way for me? When is it going to be enough? I get news about my grandfather, which you guys learned of in the last video, so I'm not going to go into it too much. I get news about my grandfather. And more things are falling apart, breaking apart, that I'll share in another testimony. And I'm just lost for words. I'm like, God, all of this is happening. There's still no job lined up. What are you doing? Like, you told me to leave. At this point, I'm ready to go back to Egypt. At this point, I miss my apartment. I'm ready to go back to Egypt. I remember the assistant principal at that job telling me, if they're mean to you on this new job, just let me know. Like, you can come back here at any time. And I'm just like, I'm about to call. My friends are being like, girl, we're not going back to Egypt, okay? And I'm desperate. I'm ready to go. Because it's ghetto over here, okay? And so I didn't go back. As you know, I didn't go back because I was holding myself back. I was like, no, we can't. We got to listen to the Lord. So here I am crying, I'm sad, I'm going through it, but I'm worshiping, I'm still going to church, I'm serving as much as I can. Sometimes I need my moment, sometimes I'm in grief, sometimes I need to take a breather, and it's hard, and it's tiresome, the wait is long. And so I'm still applying. I'm on Indeed. I'm at the point where Indeed and I, we're closer than we've ever been. Okay. And I'm like, God, I don't want another position in K through 12. By faith, I'm still applying to higher ed positions and other positions. Like, I am not applying to anything that has to do with my previous career as a teacher, because I feel like I had done enough. I feel like the Lord was like, you've done enough. You've done your part. You've given all that you could give. For me, it was like, there's promotion on the other side of this obedience. And I had to hold on, as difficult as it was. And it was difficult and it was challenging. And I did question myself many times, and I felt like a failure, because here I was obeying God, and my life was falling apart in every way possible. Um, but that's how it looks. Am I right? Am I right? Just like in the Bible. And so, what was it? September comes and I apply to 2 jobs. Well, more than that, but these are the 2 jobs that calls me back. After my grandfather passes away, a week later, I get 2 opportunities in my email, and one is for a temporary position as a middle school English teacher, and the other one is for the university that I work at now. And I'm over here like, all right, God, I'm sad, I'm mad, I'm upset, I'm frustrated. I lost my grandfather. Life is still falling apart, all of these different things. But I'm like, okay, there's some good news to look forward to. So I'm working in middle school, and you get to see all my experiences from preschool all the way now to elementary to middle, high, and working as a college instructor. So here I am with all of these experiences. And little did I know that this temporary job, God wanted to shine his light on me. I started the job the last week of October. So I have been unemployed since June. And then that temporary job, I had started the last week of October. And it was just for a couple of weeks. And so I start that job, but in the meantime, I'm in the process for the job that I am now. And it's a 4-step process, y'all. It took 2 months. It's a 4-step process. And here I am like, we got to do a phone call interview. Then you got to do this. And it was a lot. And so working the other job, just it lifted up my spirit. It was such a beautiful job. And it was like God was saying, daughter, well done. You did what I told you to do. You left your job. You had no backup plan. It was hard, but you kept going. You kept trusting me. And I just want to show you that even though you're not going to stay on this job for a long time, I want to show you that education is beautiful. And I want to revive you, and I want to restore you, and I want to change your perspective and give you fresh eyes. It was a Christian school. I had never worked at a Christian school before. And it was funny because my leader was like, I want you to work at a Christian school. The best school I've ever worked at my entire life, and I was just there for a couple of weeks. The kids worship the Lord. They have chapel every Wednesday, and oh my gosh, they were so sweet to me. The oh my gosh, the employees, the principal. When I tell you, the joy of the Lord and the spirit of the Lord is in that school. It is in that school, and I loved it so much. And I was like, man, I want to stay, but I knew that God has something else for me. And so it's my last week, or second to last week there, and I get the interview. I reached the final point of this job that I'm also like applying for at higher ed as an academic success coach. And I get to the interview. It's an hour-long interview. They're grilling me. I'm like, Lord, I didn't make it. I didn't do a good job. Oh my gosh. I was like, is this it? And y'all, the following week, they were supposed to get back to me 14 days, because I counted. They were supposed to get back to me 14 days later to let me know my results for the interview, whether I made it or I didn't. Because they had other people they were interviewing for the position. They got back to me the last week I was there at the temporary job as a middle school teacher, English teacher. They got back to me literally at the interview was it? Oh no, the interview was the same week of the last week that I was at the temporary job. Okay, the interview was that Monday. They got back to me. I think it was literally Wednesday that they got back to me. And the day they got back to me, the following day, I think it was when the job that I was at, the temporary job, they wanted me to do another position. And I was like, oh my gosh. It was like open doors, open doors, open doors. And when I tell you, I was so relieved. I was like, oh my gosh, we made it. 5 months, 5.5 months, and we have a full-time job with benefits, great benefits, amazing PTO. And I just finished my first week as an academic success coach. And I love it. I'm in higher ed. And God is so good. God is so faithful. Like I feel like I could make this testimony an hour, and I was trying to, but my phone was like no space. But God is just so so good, y'all. It makes sense, and it's at the city. Like he told me to leave the city that I was at, where the apartment was, and then the job and everything. And he brought me to, and he told me, you're gonna work in this city, and you're also gonna live in this city that I'm like, that I work at now. And it's so funny because I was applying to jobs outside of that city, and the Lord opened the door and made me work in the city that I'm at now. And it's crazy to me because I looked crazy and I sounded crazy, and no one believed me except my friends. And even like my friends believed me. They was like, okay, all right, let's get this right. Let's get this right. You know, when your friends are like, all right, I'm on board. Talk to me. Give me some more information. And I just looked crazy. Even my family, I just sounded crazy, looked crazy. I, but now I'm like, listen, the Lord was right, okay? He was right the whole time. And I knew that he was, but it was a long wait, because if you really think about it, even though I had left that job in K 12 in June, even though I had left that job in June, I was looking for a position in higher ed since October of 2023. Y'all, when did they get back to me? After I applied in September, they got back to me the end of October. So it took a year. And then now we started the job. My first week was this week. It took a year for me to get this job. It took a year. A year. So I know how hard it is, you know, for God to tell you to leave with no backup plan, for you to leave a city that you were living, leave your apartment, leave your house, leave the comfortability, and for God to bring you out, you know, for God to bring you in the middle of nowhere, and things are like happening that are beyond your control, and you look crazy and you sound crazy. I know what it's like. I've been living it this whole year. 2024, we're in December. My whole year was wrecked. Like grief, sorrow, loss, transition. But God is so faithful and God is so good, because everything he promised me, I'm living in it now. Like everything he promised me. And I knew it. Like I'm just saying it now because I knew it. I knew when God told me that I was going to leave that job that I worked at, and that public school, and living in my apartment. I knew that the position that God had in mind for me was in higher education. I knew that I had done enough. I knew that that high school dreamer, Monica, who said she was going to work in higher education. And I knew that God was like, I hear your heart, daughter. You've done well, and it's time for you to move forward. I knew it. But waiting had me questioning myself. Waiting had me feeling like I was a liar. I felt like I was a liar. I felt like I was a failure. I felt like I was crazy. I felt like I was double minded. Like I knew it in all the prayer and the fasting and the crying. Let me tell you something, because in other videos, I don't know, that I've watched where people are like, oh, they left their job. Let me tell you something. It's not going to take a fast only. It's not going to take just prayers, a fast. Like if you're going to do prayer and fasting, and you're going to like, uh, clear out your schedule and do 40 days, 40 nights, and all this other stuff. Let me tell you something. When it comes to God's will, it's going to happen. Please do fast because it helps. Please do pray. Pray every day. Like you should be praying and reading your Bible. Please do worship because you love the Lord. Don't do it in a transactional way. And I'm saying this because there's some videos that I've watched, and it's just like, I did a 3-day prayer and fasting. I did this fasting and I did that. Let me tell you something. I was doing all types of fast. Okay. And the Lord was not allowing the doors to open. It opened in his timing. You cannot push the timing of the Lord. You can't control the timing of the Lord. You cannot force a door open. You cannot. Only God can open a door. And I learned that through this fast. I mean, through this, through this fast. I learned that in this season. Not that I didn't know it, but I lived it. Baby, people were praying for me. I was praying for me. I was crying. People were like, I was giving everything that I could give, doing everything that I could righteously. Um, but it was in the timing of the Lord. When God says yes, it's yes. But when God says no, it's no. And don't try to control that, because it'll have you hyper fixed on the problem and what you're waiting for, and you won't move. But when God says yes, it's going to happen. The moment God was like, it's time, it was time. It was time. It was seamless time. Like, it was seamless the way it happened. It was time. Yes, I had gone through everything. Yes, I had experienced all this turmoil and this sadness and the gloom. But the glory of the Lord that I'm living in and dwelling in, this new level of glory, oh, it's worth it. The wait for me was worth it. So please hold tight. I know it's hard. I know you're frustrated, but hold tight and don't try to control it. If there's anything that you get out of this video, because I feel like I was all over the place, but if there's anything you get out of this video, I want you to submit to the timing of the Lord. Submit to God's timing. There's nothing that we can do to control God's timing. There's nothing that we can do. Like, when God says yes, it's yes. But when God says it's not time yet or no, sit down. Just sit down and allow him to put you in your rightful place, because it'll cause you headaches, it'll give you anxiety, it'll give you stress. You'll put yourself in all this type of pain, and the Lord is looking like, I know what I told you. Like, I know what I told you. Like, sit down. So I felt like for me in this experience, I was doing everything I could do. Um, but God knew when he wanted me to work. And 5 months later, yeah, he knew. He knew from June to December. Like, he literally knew. And then the temporary job, right? He knew. And so God is so good. He's so faithful. And that is my testimony. I'm in higher ed now. I'm no longer a teacher, an academic success coach. And I love it, slash advisor. And I'm really loving the role so far. There's so much to learn, though. There is so much to learn. It's new and it's different. It's a promotion, and it is God's rainbow for me. I remember I was driving. Was I driving from the interview? No, it was somewhere. I think I was coming from church on a certain day or something. And there was a rainbow over me. And I was like, wow. And so this job is God's rainbow for me, because God knew. Mm-hmm. He knew. And I'm still sad that my grandfather isn't here. There's so much to come that I wish that he could witness, but I know that God is with me, and I know that I'm supported. I know that I'm loved. And so that's that. But yeah, this is a new era. Anyways, I'm so excited. He restores everything. That is the theme of my life this year and next year. He restores everything. And there's so many testimonies. There's so much to come. There's so much to share. But my encouragement to you is, when God says leave, it will cost you everything. But I promise you, it's worth it. And leave. Submit to his timing. Obey him. You will look crazy. You will sound crazy. You will be embarrassed. You will be. You will be embarrassed, because you'll be like, oh, he told me to leave. And a month later, okay. 2 months later, okay. Like, sometimes it's embarrassing. It is embarrassing. People don't talk about it, but it's like, I know what I heard. And you did hear correctly. But it's his timing. Like, he's God. He's sovereign. And I think we're gonna get to that point in America as well, with many of us Christians, when we submit to that control of the Lord and that timing. We are not our own. We can't idolize our life. We can't idolize the timing. We can't idolize our plans and our purposes. More than anything, I'm the Lord's. It's so funny, because now I'm in this season. I was listening to Sarah Jake's sermon, The Problem with the Promise, I think it's called. And now I'm in this season, and I'm like, I don't got no plans. He wrecked my plans. He took everything. I'm just chilling. It's just vibes over here. Like, I'm good. And I really don't. Like, I'm having a good time. I'm like, what are you doing next? I don't know. I have no idea. But God is good. God is faithful. So this is the joy of the Lord from me to you. He's so good. Please trust in his timing and stay put. He's got something bigger than you could ever think or imagine. Wow, it took a year for me to get my dream job. I'm going to say it's my dream job. I would definitely say I love higher ed though, and it's preparing me for the dream that God gave me. But I would say, what was I gonna say? I lost my train of thought. I did. I lost my train. Okay, anyways, it's time's up. All right, it's 20 something minutes. Love you guys so much. I hope you're having an amazing day. And I just pray that God I just pray that God would shine his rainbow on you. I pray that when you get your testimony that you share it with the whole world. I pray that you let them know that God is not done and he's in the business of doing miracles, because I know I will be. I know this video is just a little glimpse of all that I'm sharing, because God is so faithful. He's so faithful. And I looked crazy, I sounded crazy, and it was wild. But I'm here and I'm living in the afterglow. Took a year to get this position, and it took another five and a half months to be employed again. So it is crazy. But anyway, ciao. I'll see you guys in my next video.